are here. Back once again, bringing a word to the people. How's everybody doing?
Yeah, good, mate. Good. Boys?
Dana, we didn't get much time to talk, but tell us about last night's shenanigans with this blondie that you've been...
Oh, wow.
I knew this was going to be the first thing coming out.
You are a dead set man.
I was just thinking to myself, I actually said to her last night, I said, told her about the podcast tonight, and then she's like, oh, what do you talk about? I said, oh, nothing. Usually we just talk about just rubbish, sport, footy, get stuck into each other, but without fail, Freddie will ask me about my love life each week. I'm sure that'll be the first thing that comes out of his mouth.
Is that the girl that liked the page today? A blonde girl liked the page?
Yeah, 100%.
It was?
Yes, she'd probably be the only, besides your missus, the only other girl that likes the page.
No, there's plenty. We're out there. People dig us.
She probably just disliked because you guys fucking were going to rag on her.
And she's 15 or...
Oh, whoa. Please kick in the door for things like that. Creepos that do those things have troubles with the law.
But yeah, good night though, Dano.
Yeah, no, we had a good time. We had a few quiet beers and that was about it.
But you got a heap of girls after you though now, eh?
You are a man.
He's got
what
them.
the fuck?
If I was this guy when I was 22, Jesus.
Wow. Hey, you've been with your missus since high school, eh?
Yeah. Oh, no, I met her. I was a year after high school.
Oh, yeah,
yeah, she was in year 12. Yeah.
Oh, was she?
Yeah.
At Mitchie?
She was Calvin Grove. I was Mitchie.
Oh, that's good. I hadn't heard the reputation of you and
the
younger guy.
Oh, I struggled,
the less you know,
man.
the better, eh?
I struggled getting girls,
good.
hey. Fuck, you should see me in year 12. I was just disgusting.
Don't bag. How long after that? So you were playing Colts that year and talking
Yeah. I was that disgusting kid. Went on to play Colts that following year. So I played Colts in the year after year 12.
Yep.
So I tried out year 12 and then went back to 17s.
Yep.
And then after year 12 went into Colts with Kimmy and that.
He was the boys. Oh, nice.
Yeah. So Kimmy was that 1 year younger.
Oh, well,
yeah. So he was like a year 12 playing in Colts.
Yeah, nice.
Yeah. But I wasn't pantsing blondies on Saturday nights after you come have a beer with Wrighty.
Wow.
Fucking hell.
Well, Dano, you're good to see your
So how was it, Dano, out of 10? Exactly.
Oh, wow. I don't know if we can go to this level because this girl could be listening.
I had a good night. Let's just say that. It was a good night. Good company, good night. There you go.
That's the spirit. How's everybody going?
Yeah, good.
Been training?
Yeah, been training enough.
Not in the last half an hour, hey?
No, I trained today. How have you guys been going with your weights that I gifted?
Yeah, good.
Well, I've got I took the two 17 and a half dumbbells off you last week, and that's literally the extent of all the weights I got. So I've been trying to do as much as I can. I've just been trying to do some shoulder work, some dumbbell press. And 17.5 was a bit much for me to curl at the start.
Yeah.
I started just
that's decent.
Curling 17.5s now.
Decent curls, you know what I mean? Like
just curl and curl. That's all I've been doing.
With limited shit, you can find so much stuff to do. It makes you be real imaginative.
Google a lot of things, and some they come up with innovative ideas, especially with kettlebells and that. When I started Googling stuff, like all the same things that you were doing with a bar, you can do with that.
Exactly. With the dumbbells too, the man makers. Have you done what man makers? So you with them, they're flat on the ground. You go into a push up, then a right hand row, left hand row, then you go up to a thruster, stand up, and then back down. Yeah,
that whole three combinations.
I'd
start light on that one.
Yeah, well, with the 17.5, so usually it would be a good weight for them too. But they smash a whole body.
Right.
So
yeah, nice.
We'll have to get on to that.
And the heavy dumbbells going good.
Yeah.
Yeah, did dumbbell workout today.
Yeah.
And I went in a 6.5K walk with Al Weller.
Oh, did you?
Isn't Al looking like a dead
He trained a machine,
that
bloke. He trained a machine, that bloke.
Yeah.
He's looking good. He'll be excited if we ever get back to playing because he's keen as beans.
You see the pins on the lad? He put a photo up on his Instagram today. Fuck me dead.
He's just
just jacked, isn't he?
He's just purchased a wooden bench. A guy makes benches out of wood, obviously. Weights bench out of wood. Lives up at Wrighty. Just doing his spare time, flogging them off.
And he's
a few bucks.
Really?
Yeah.
And he's Big Al single now, isn't he?
Yeah, he's single. He's just looking after himself, doing his thing.
Fuck.
What a
so
guy.
between you and him, who's got more STDs?
Well, I feel sorry when people get out of isolation when Dano and Al Weller get out and get off the leash. You wild men will be out there
Not the coronavirus, it's the fucking A to Z virus these cunts have got.
So
I just make up new shit, bro. I'm ground zero for that.
So with the NRL side of things, look, seems like they're progressing, taking steps in the right direction to a comp starting. Whether it'll be when they want, I don't know, because they've still got hoops to jump through and boxes to tick, all that sort of shit. But the Warriors got permission from the New Zealand government to fly over to Australia, and they're sussing out a place in northern New South Wales to base themselves and bring family and stuff too. But they have certain demands that need to be met by the league, as you would have to, and they're making the biggest sacrifice out of anybody. So that's good. There's been a lot of conjecture. You listen to, like anything to do with coronavirus, there's a different story from different people on social media every day. 2-3 days ago, people were saying NRL will never get off the ground again, blah, blah, this year. That's varied. They've already got a rough plan to play Origins outside of the season, like 3 weeks back to back.
So we're going on that, Wrighty, jumping in with the report that I read today in the Courier Mail. Was it saying that Fittler's saying the delay? He's pissed off that they're saying that there's going to be a delay on that one game, or at Suncorp?
It was something like that. Yeah, there was rumours that they may have to, if last sort of choice, it'd be play 3 in Sydney, and you wouldn't want that. But if the Queenslanders would be preferring to play, and
it's the 40-year thing that they're talking about, the RD beats and
things like that. Like, that's why they're... And it's called Channel 9, there was talk they were bailing. Then you read different reports on Twitter from different things. And then Gould commented on a Twitter question and said, don't believe everything you hear, Channel 9 are still fully committed.
Yeah.
And they are, and they just want to change things.
It's hard for Channel 9 because when the NRL started talking about bringing the season back, that's going to run... Obviously, that was originally the plan was it was going to run later than the projected end of the season date, projected grand final date. They're worried because the Channel 9 have the rights to the Cricket World Cup, the T20 World Cup,
and the way things are going.
So they would have they would have clashed, which is one of their main concerns. So now that I think the NRL have planned to come back and finish the season by the end of October, I think it takes one big obstacle out, which is the clashing of it with the T20 World Cup.
Will they get in the country? Will they allow them?
That's the question.
That's the whole thing. Like, things could ease considerably so we can play league in this country. But someone made a mention of something the other day. We might not be travelling further than the other side of the Pacific for a long time. You know, who they let in, especially with infection rates in these other countries.
Yeah,
do they want a chance? Well, we say this, yet on Qantas flights, they let people sit next to each other in crowded flights within Queensland.
That's it. You don't want to, like, as soon as we lax the laws, we get footy going again, blah, blah, blah. And then we have a Cricket World Cup and we get a team from England come over and then a handful of Yanks on a plane, a handful of Japs. And then you got a fucking big cesspit full of foreign cunts coming here coughing all over it.
But that's the thing, too. And it's the same going to any other countries. I don't know whether the Cricket World Cup will or won't go ahead. But in saying that, if it was to go ahead, that's where Channel 9 have to be smart, or NRL have to be smart scheduling. If you know there's a pool game where it's Australia playing England or something like that, you don't want to be scheduling a blockbuster like a grand final replay or a couple of the good sides in that. You know, and it's no offence, but you got to look at maybe making an assessment on a side that might not be travelling well, playing around the same time if games will clash. They have to look at all those sort of things. And you just don't know. We're a lot better off than when they played the first 2 rounds. Like, the infection rates dropped over 20% since then. And things like that. And there are other factors with the crew, with all that fiasco with that cruise boat, that affected 20% of the cases in Australia.
Our recovery rate's gone through the roof too. It's like they tell you that the numbers stand as you hear on the news. There's more than 6,000 people infected in Australia, but they don't also mention that 3,200 of them have recovered, and 49 have died, 52 have died, or however many it is dead. But that's just saying, like, just because they say it's 6,000, that means there's 6,000 total cases. That means there's I think they said 13 people on respirators, blah, blah, blah. So there's a large percentage of everyone that's had it, probably just over 50%, is already recovered. And there's only a few critical cases. By the time, hopefully after another couple of weeks, just about stamp it out in Australia. That's not saying everything can go back to normal straight away, but I think we're a lot closer to being on top of it than we're made to believe.
Well, I was reading in the LA Times the other day that they're trying to predict when it may peak in California, and they predicted a very high death toll, and it's only been less than a sixth of that. So as horrific as that is, that could be on the downward. So if something in our country was to happen similarly, we all have to we have to still be abiding by rules, and a lot of this social distancing can be eased. But there's talk of maybe a couple of beaches being opened on the Gold Coast in the next 3 weeks. Whether that's all bullshit, but just being out and about, like when I was walking around New Farm Park today, you notice that there was a group of 3 coppers walking around and things like that to put the fear of God into people. And people getting these fines, it's got to wake you up.
But I kind of go off Sanford Road in the mornings, and I feel it picking up and up and up, the traffic on Sanford Road.
Yeah.
And remember, because it's still been like actual school holidays, like the set out date ones, and the traffic getting bigger and bigger while it's still school holidays. It's not anywhere compared to if we weren't in isolation, but I feel everyone getting out there a bit more.
You can sort of notice it. People are starting to relax a bit, but like even when you do go out, like if you're out of the house, you go in the shop, something, you see people are keeping their distance. Everyone's a bit more aware.
Yeah, the security at like supermarkets, like just making sure everyone's doing the right thing.
My local Coles, there's a young lady on the door on the way in, and a young fella on the door on the way out. Have you fucked her? And then she wishes. But they both got clickers, and they got to count numbers now, and they let a certain amount of people in the store.
Yeah.
And everyone's sanitising the way in. Someone's there to clean your trolley. So obviously there's massive precautions in place. As long as everyone's, as if they are going out, keeping their distance, going out. See, you just got to be smart about it. Like if you're going to go out outside of an essential service, don't be going out and fucking acting up and playing a fool. If you're going to go out, go somewhere, keep your distance. Don't be acting like a fucking dick. And then, if you're gonna leave the house, go to. I lost the train of thought. I had something I was gonna say, then I completely lost it. Take it away.
Keep thinking.
I'll get it back.
Only do it essentially.
Yeah, pretty much.
There's a lot of stuff you can avoid doing. There's some things you can't, but people just going for the fact that I felt like getting out and about. If you do that, you're taking a chance to get the 1,000+ fine.
Yeah.
And things like, and this, with footy, with the crowds, hopefully by the end of the year, that they've eased a lot of those crowd restrictions and that. And hopefully if things can keep on improving, that'd be great. And with all this, there've been a lot of talk of buying these players coming to the NRL on part-time gigs and that for the rest of the year. Basically, Nick Stiles, Quade Cooper's coach in Japan, ex-Reds, he said they wouldn't be green lighting it, and because what have they got to gain out of it? And Japanese rugby, it's not been affected by anything. They're still getting their full money. They've got no restrictions over there. Blah blah blah. They're all ready to go when the season kicks off. You're paying Cooper quite a bit of cash, and to all of a sudden let him go and play a tougher game where he's more chance to get injured, I think that'd be suicide. And
so who's his boys? Like, because I see him training at Bronx and stuff. Like, who's he mates with?
Tavita Pangai Jr.
Oh, okay.
So they would all be mates from social media and all those sort of things, and being
just
out
a bit
about.
of a public figure, I think. And
there's one thing.
The other public
one thing did interest me. Seabold saying he's interested in T.O.
Fuck, I love TOA.
Jesus, yeah,
T.O.'s asking price is $400K.
Is that what he said?
$400K. I read this today. $400K. His Ben Teo worth 400k in a short-term deal when you have developing back rowers like Jamil Hopewadi and so forth on a short term?
I'd be more worried about stunting the growth of Flegler or Carrigan or...
Yeah, that's what I mean. Would you throw out 400k and these boys aren't getting opportunities?
What would you say the average rate is for a second rower?
A good one?
Yeah.
Well, Cordner would be... I reckon Cordner would be... He'd be 8, 7 or 8.
Yeah.
If he was healthy, 8.
Yeah.
Well,
yeah, and Cordner's...
So,
Cordner would be the best back rower in the world.
If you were a full season, if this was one or full season...
Yeah.
And you needed a back rower.
Yeah, he
Teo would be one. Yeah,
at 400.
Well, look at how he dominated.
If that's what it, like a going rate is, 400, I don't think is too out of the park.
Well, Joel Thompson, I'm just guessing here. I've got him on Facey, but I don't know personally. But Joel Thompson would be on 6.
I think
he's very good.
The Eels picked Sean Lane up for 5.
Oh yeah,
and Sean Lane's a very decent back rower. So
Teo was better back rower than him when he left. Just in comparison.
Yeah.
So he could, if you had 4 spare and you had a full season, and then say you was a Chooks and Boyd Cordner suffering his knee injury, and then you'd go, shit, if we get him, we've got insurance 500k in the bank. We'll use 4 of it on him because we don't look like picking anybody up, or they'd try and move someone on in a swap deal as they do in these sort of negotiations. Teo, like when they won at South Sydney, he was the unsung hero. You got to have a good bench in rugby league. You got to have blokes who are going to come on, and he'd come on and he'd whack bloke. He'd run those mad crash lines. No surprise that he played good football in rugby too, because in his role in the centres, he ran similar crash lines to what he was doing in league.
Yeah,
just can bang blokes. He's got a bit of an offload in him. That was so when he was at the peak of his powers when he left. Man.
Yeah, he was fucking
surprising.
Dominant.
Yeah.
And so was it? They talking about a 1-year contract? Is that what he was saying?
The rest of this season, it'd be
because he's 400k for the rest of this season.
Yeah, man. That's what I mean.
That's a bit dodge.
Because he's with the Sunwolves. So if they were to get off the ground, like I thought he was with the Sunwolves, so he'd have some contractual agreement there.
The Sunwolves are the worst team in history, aren't they?
They're struggling. They're kind of like a barbarian side, but all the travel poons them.
Okay.
They've had some good players there, but they've got, they don't have that many. They had a few wins last year, but they're nowhere near making finals or anything like that.
I can't see the negotiation with these outside prospects when each NRL club have a 30-man squad, and they also obviously have contracted players outside the 30, like blokes that are connected with the club and were playing in-trust super for their feeders. So if you're, say, just for example, say you're the Broncos and 3 or 4 of your top 17 can't work around, can't figure out how to get away from the family for a set period of time, if that's what has to happen, stuff like that, then someone else from your 30 comes in, and if you run all the way to the end of 30 blokes and you can't take down a squad of 25 or whatever you need to take, I'm 100% sure they'd be able to pick up blokes that are contracted with the club through their feeder system.
Put it like this. Darius Boyd doesn't want to leave his family. Darius says, I won't be participating in this season. Do you buy Teo and throw him in the centres? He has played a lot of centre.
Yeah.
I think you play one of the blokes in your 30.
Yeah, all right. You got Herbie Farnsworth and that who were in the squad.
Jesse Arthurs
Jesse Arthurs used to go to centre when Farnsworth comes to wing.
And I put Farnsworth in the wing.
It's funny.
Like it's all good to say like you could just put 400 and pick Teo up, but it's also you can't I just think it's sort of almost unfair to the other blokes in the 30. But it's also at the same time
it's a band-aid solution.
Yeah, band-aid solution. That's exactly the thing.
What would happen if a young bloke had an option on his end for the next year and he's gone? What happens if someone else comes on the market? Will they shit can me?
Yeah,
Am I better off going where I've got some job security?
Yeah, exactly right. Or they're just
and it's a big thing. If you could get him for 2, I'd say do it. But you're saying the same thing. Do you have a lot of injuries, and is your depth tested in that area?
I think that's the problem. You'd have to be pretty desperate. So like if you're a side that are dead set struggling for a back rower, and you need someone with a bit of experience. You're a less experienced side. Like say you were the Bulldogs, and then you lose Josh Jackson with injury. Then you've got no real experience in the back row. Young fellas, you need a back rower. You got a bit of cash. You need a wise head. That'd be a good pick.
Or you could convince Wigan to let you have Jackson Hastings in the half, like because their halves are struggling.
Sorry, boys, but that was Jimmy. He just woke up. So he'll be over. He said he'll just freshen up and come over, and then we'll chuck 250 on that bar, and you'll see how many times he can deadlift 250. If he doesn't make it over because he's a bit tired, Wrighty, we're going to chuck on 100 on that bar and see how much you can do that.
Sweet man.
I like it. Maybe we'll do that anyway. If Jimmy does come over, then we'll drop back to Hunge and see how much you crank out a Hunge at.
Okay.
Yeah.
So have a go.
Done deal.
Yeah, and that's the thing though. It's a thing though too. If you bring in someone, you could disrupt the flow.
Exactly.
I remember a coach I had once saying this too about, and you would have had the same thing when you won the GF in 2015. You get there, say someone's been injured for a bit, and he makes himself available.
Mm-hmm.
You could bring him back in if you needed to. Say you had someone injured or in doubt, and you think, geez, do I put him on the bench? And I could have used him.
Yeah.
When Manly lost to the Roosters in 2013, Dave Williams was playing the house down. Snake had just come back, Brett Stewart had just come back from injury. Peter Hiku had played the last month or so at fullback and been going good. Hiku became 18th man. They lost Richie Fayoso. He injured himself in the prelim. He brought in another forward, Dave Gower, who was...
Is this David Middleton, though?
He brought in another forward in Dave Gower, who was a good, solid player in case I got injured. I was saying at the time, should he have put Hiku on the bench just in case? I thought Brett Stewart might have broken down. Brett Stewart got through the game, but Wolfman had a forgettable night. He made a few blunders.
Mm.
And I said, and I was thinking afterwards, when we were having a beer with a mate, I said, if he had Hiku on the bench, then he would have thrown him on the swing and brought Wolfman off. But those sort of balance things you gotta weigh up. And what with you boys, like yous were flying, yous were up there top 2 all year.
Yeah. So we're going from NRL to Open Ones now, yeah.
Yeah, and same thing, but it's the same principles of the game.
It's hard to take
2012 when we won it, Dolan in the Chairman's Trophy, fucking collides with Steve Larder's knee, fucks his face. Like they had to put his face back together.
No, it was his forehead, wasn't it?
Yeah, you split him open. It was like face-off.
Oh, I thought you meant when he dented his forehead.
Yeah, that's the one.
Oh.
It was the most hideous thing.
Have you seen that photo, Dano?
No, I haven't seen the photo, but I've heard all about
something
it.
you forget.
Yeah.
Anyway.
Well, to tell them, because some people that listen.
We're in the Chairman's Trophy. People don't know it's like a mid-year grand final. We're playing D-Bay Bombers. And our centre and now one's coach, Clint Dolan, goes to tackle someone. A winger's coming in to help him out. Clint goes low. His knee hits another player right in the forehead.
And like it
fractured his skull.
Like an inside egg.
Yeah, inside egg.
Disgusting.
So it was like the movie Face Off.
Yeah.
Clint's out the whole season, the rest of the season. Late in, we make the GF. Clint had been running the water. He felt he was good to go. He came to Ivesy and said, I'm good to go if you want me. And Ivesy said, mate, don't put me in this position. Yeah. And as he said to me, unless someone was injured, it's not the right time to make a change like that.
Yeah.
Because you can just disrupt the flow, especially when you're in a good crew of blokes and blokes have been battling along. And it's not like someone gets hurt at training that week or pulls up crook and you go, mate, I can't guarantee you're going to do the job. I've got a fresh bloke here. Yeah. We've got to do this.
I think there's levels to the player of when that happens.
Yeah.
You know, anyone but in Open Ones, but if your name's not NK,
yeah,
you're not sliding straight back in.
And 2011 when Manly won it, Glenn Stewart was suspended for the Battle of Brookie. Someone had to make way. Darcy Lussick missed out, and Stewart went straight back in. He won the Clive Churchill. There are some blokes who proven performers who you know.
Well, that's the thing. You have to be a proven performer. Like if you say any decent name. Say you Cooper Cronk playing for the Roosters with a bung shoulder in a grand final.
The way they gave him to the last minute, and he was out, and then he was in as soon as he.
You play Cooper Cronk. That's what you do. If it was someone else, if it was another half, he definitely would never have even been considered to play. but because it was Cooper Cronk straight in, and that's exactly the same situation.
Robinson is that smart tactically. Orbison was going to play half one side. Mitchell was going to play 5'8", and he was going to float both sides, which would have made him more dangerous, him just popping up either side like a second fullback. That was a mad scientist plan that I loved. I love a good mad scientist plan because you've got to think out of the box and throw something a bit different at them. I'm all for, like, interchanging blokes. Like, if Danos playing fullback and you're playing hooker, start mixing and matching that at times during a game because it gives blokes time to catch their breath and they're looking at something different on a kick chase. One bloke's different strengths and weaknesses as a player, and all of a sudden blokes start getting confident in how they're defending. You're throwing a bit more doubt into the defensive line.
I saw a good. I thought it was just on Fox Sports feed, but it was actually Bloke in a Bar again, and they had that thing about Sean Berrigan.
Yeah,
they were saying like how, and they went through his stats, showing how good of a fucking utility he was. And that year where Bennett was like, I knew that he was going to kill it at hooker, but I held that back until the final series, so he'd just get out there and explode.
And he didn't want to play hooker because his brother was at the club. And they would have been competing.
But you think that would really be Wayne Bennett's?
Well, that was the thing. Mick Innes was playing hooker and going, well, he does his knee like 6 games in. You know what I mean? Like, would that have happened? Like little different things, like, and you could carry. Bennett had a bit of mad scientist in him too. Like, he had Hunt on the wing when they won it. Dave Stagg would defend as a centre, and would attack on the wing. Yeah. Hunt would float between winger and centre in attack. Like, he'd run kicks back. Hodges at the back, who was who was in subliminal form.
Ridiculous form. He was running.
Everyone's just doing a thing.
Well over 100 metres in every half.
Because he brought it.
Hunt is one player I really am disappointed we didn't get to see more in league.
Exactly, I wish he stayed. He's one of my favourites. The way he brought the ball back from the back was
and then
incredible.
What was it in State of Origin? They were just like, you wouldn't mind playing second row for us, wasn't it?
Lock. Sorry. Ball playing lock.
Yeah.
I watched the last game, 2008. Origin 3 the other day on KO. On the bench for Queensland was Slater in 14, and he come on. Prince got hurt. Hunt went to halves, and Bellamy had Brett Stewart on the bench and had Gidley starting at fullback. And when Stewart came on, he looked dangerous. It was like thing with those sort of plays is when you got these backs on the bench. It's hard to have the plan when you can fit them in. Yeah. Because how's the game going?
There's a lot of times too. You see that like a side gets picked, and you have like a sort of a smoky on the bench who could come in and play a few different roles. A sort of a utility man. You don't know how exactly he's going to use him and how effective he's going to be wherever. And then you get to the end of the game and this bloke hasn't played any minutes or gets to play 6 or 7 minutes.
Or you got to throw him on last 10.
Yeah, but it's also you don't want to bring him on and try something different and disrupt the way that, like, if your team's going good, if you come out and your team's going good guns, and your master plan is to bring a small outside back in to play in the middle for a bit, you wouldn't want to bring that on and try and change things up too much where your forwards are dominating and stuff.
And it's a thing you can fuck the balance up as a coach. That's one thing I've learned over the years. There are times you just got to let blokes go out there, and when you're on the bench, you've got to know there's a basic. You've got a pattern of how you want to interchange, but that can be changed. Like you're scoring tries, or opposition is scoring. If it's 4 tries, 2 each, 2 sides, blokes have had enough time to catch their breath a bit. They can squeeze out a few more minutes. Things like that. Someone gets injured, that changed the whole thing. There's nothing worse than when a winger gets hurt. Wingers get hurt, and you've got to push like a back rower to centre. And most back rowers can handle the centres now. Yeah. Most blokes, especially at those higher levels, got good leg speed. They're used to defending on edges. Excuse me. And then things like that where...
It just makes it difficult, Buck. When you have, like, say your back rower, say you've got a good attacking back rower that you want a ball in his hands, but then you're forced to make a change and get him on even out further on the edge where he's not going to see as much pill. It sort of just does. It fucks up that balance when a winger goes down. Instead of just coming off the bench, bringing someone off the bench to play wing, because your bench is stacked with pigs. then you have to bring those sort of strike weapons from the middle out towards the edge a bit more. They won't see as much.
That's
build.
like when Luke Lewis was playing rep.
Sorry, that was Jimmy again. He goes, bro, I'm fucking. He must have taken a Zanny a bit later on in the afternoon, so he's trying to wake up from a Xanax, and he goes, okay, I'm gonna jump in the shower, see if I can open my fucking eyes.
Oh jeez.
Like why Luke Lewis was so invaluable. Winger, centre, back rower, lock, play him in the halves if you really wanted to when you do a job for you there.
There's a lot of sides these days are carrying like a utility, like an outside back on the bench. You never really saw it overly like a shitload, but sort of this year and last year it's sort of becoming more and more. Like the Broncos carrying blokes like Herbie Farnworth on their bench, stuff like that. It just makes it seem...
And you've got to know, like, you might not play many minutes. You could play, like, 90% of the game.
Yeah.
And life will balance out.
But you can build a career off being a bench player. That's the cool thing about it.
Yeah,
when the Sharks won it that year, they had Jared Beale on the bench.
Yeah, Jared Beale.
And in the grand final, like, probably 10 in the second half, Fecky gets injured. So he plays half an hour. So he's earned that ring,
He had a couple of big plays, too. There's a kick down to the corner that he cleaned up. Almost saved a certain try.
Fresh body coming on tape on set starts and things like that.
He's killing it too. I listened to the call of that game on Triple M last weekend. They're doing recalls of old games.
Yeah, they
voice over it.
Yeah,
so they do. They're call
the
they
modern,
called on
the
the
modern
day.
call. Yeah,
And who's on the Triple M crew?
Dan Ganane.
Yeah, Dan Ganane. Dan Ganane fucking goes hard.
Girdler's on.
Yeah,
Girdler's been on for a few years.
Yeah.
Some are good, some are not. Won't say not good. Some you just want to listen to the old commentary because you don't hear these blokes as much, and you get used to. Because I've always listened to Triple M, or like if I'm driving home from somewhere.
6,
yeah. ABC,
yeah.
I love it. Listening to that because you get a different perspective. But some blokes with their descriptions of tries, I found some don't do it justice. And you see the try, you go, he's just stepped 2 blokes, fended 2 more off, and carried the fullback over the line, like. In that 89 grand final when Steve Jackson scores that try, I was watching.
You were 30 years old, weren't you?
Yeah, 29.
32.
Like watching him score that, and then like everyone was commenting on it because they re-commentated it on KO. That's superhuman effort. You seal the grand final, someone picks up a grubber, tips the ball to you, you run 20 metres, beat 3 or 4 blokes and carry another 2 over the try line. That's legend status. And then the next year, that never gets mentioned, he got called into the Origin side for the 3rd game, and he scored the game winner in that, and Queensland won 14-10.
Yeah.
Things like that. Like that's the beauty of our game, the history. And one thing now, with this, drama has brought out, we're reconnecting with the history of the game a bit more. And when you hear blokes telling some good tales of when they played, like Blocker Roach, you always knew he was good. And he was sort of at the end of his career when I really first got into footy. But he was fucking unreal, man. Big man with skill, tough as fuck. Big body too. Had a nice little tip-on ball. Yeah. Like, they didn't mind offloading then, and coaches weren't against it.
Every one of these older games we've watched to do a review on, I've watched and I think, fuck me. There's a bloke coming back on a kick return, screams it back, gets hold up in a tackle and throws an offload to the fullback, or the fullback hits it up and then just stands in a tackle, works around and finds an offload, and then another bloke finds an offload, and it's like, fuck me. There's just so much.
You're breaking the D up more, but now with the super structure we play, you have to get to that spot.
Yeah, I think tackle tech's got it. Like it's a lot different too.
And also within a club
off.
And a system, there's consequences if you're not completing that shit.
Exactly.
That's the thing. It's they didn't have. I don't feel like back then they would have had that pressure to be like, we play for the stats. The stats win us the games.
Yeah.
Back then, it's just like you play footy, you win the game.
Yeah. I think too, like the way that we tackle today versus the way we tackled then, it's a lot different. Like I think everyone's very, very conscious of the offload now. You see in every tackle, there's always going to be a hand on the ball or on the arm trying to make sure the pill can't come out. And you're trying a lot harder to get numbers in tackles and get a bit more into the wrestle.
I was talking to one of my mates about this during the week because it come up with the fucking wrestle shit again, and I was saying, look, I don't mind wrestle, and if they've got a problem with it, then change the rules.
Because that's the whole thing.
Yeah, just
coaches adapt to the rules.
Yeah, and it was Chris Seivel that I was talking to, and Seivel goes, he goes, what if they made the rule that only 2 in a tackle? So the third man can't come in.
We'd get those 40, 36 college football scorelines.
Yeah.
I reckon.
But he thought that's like something that he was thinking that would maybe like break it up like it would in the like mid-90s.
That's what I think the NRL's looking for, but I think the NRL is trying to make the product something like those sort of cricket scores, the 42-40 scorelines. They want to see a lot of tries. They want to see a lot of flashiness. Just because they think that's what's going to appeal to the broader audience.
But people were bagging out what was it, 20s?
Yeah,
and there was a thing too
because there was no defence, no one tackled.
You went in there and you were playing
half a footy with 8 tackles in it.
Yeah.
You play kids footy, and I've noticed that like coaching the second side at Mitchie, you get young blokes coming in playing against men, and people go, "Oh, it's only park footy," but to progress through football levels, you got to be a consistent footballer, good and consistent. And you'll be playing these lower grade park footy and you'll get some bloke who popped up who might have played cup maybe in 99, and he's about 38 now, and things like that where you're going, he can still play the game. He's not a lightning quick anymore. He's not like, great footwork, but he's tough and he can hit. And you've got to be able to handle adversity. Coming through kids footy, you don't have to grind out wins as much per se. You don't, everyone's taught to run the right block shapes and things like that. Yeah, that's great at the right time. But the times you've just got to put the football in your hands and take a shitty coming off your line, you're going to make about 5 metres. Someone's got to, and your mate's going to take that run. You've got to push up with him. So there's an extra bloke's hanging off you in case he tips it on. And then the next run, you got to be there. Some bloke will hit one faster off a quick play the ball and will make more metres. But if you're not there running that support line, it sets up for him not to get bashed and he can find his front. And then the bloke, the third player on taking the second run, he can pick up some more metres or running an arrow or running an overs with footwork, and that sort of shit. Those sort of things that some coaches have got a lot to answer for. And I know everyone...
Clarkie's Corner?
That bloke, okay, we'll talk about him later.
Is there more news on him?
No, he hasn't been making any scoops.
Well, while I remember it, if you put Jeff Tuvey into a team, what position do you put him in at?
Ooh.
I like him at hooker. Did
you see the list?
What list?
In the paper today? They put a list of what they thought was like the top 20 hookers of all time. And I think I left it here actually, but Tuvey's like 16.
Yeah, well,
really?
he played Origin at hooker.
Yeah, but he played a lot more half, didn't he?
Yeah, he did.
He played both. The thing with him is at club level, he was half because he had him and Cliffy Lyon. So he probably played half like a hooker. He was real quick. He defended tough as anybody. But he could take a punishment.
Correct me if I'm wrong, right, man, but back then, didn't like the half jump into hooker a lot of the time to take a bit of sting off?
You could do a bit like that.
Because the hookers were working.
And you had centres that linked up back in those days sometimes. More in the 90s, they started going left on right. But you could have one centre playing like another 5'8", tipping on like inside-outside centre a bit.
Well, that's what I noticed in that 91 grand final we'll be reviewing later. I saw Brandy, Greg Alexander in at hooker a lot, and sort of towards the... Anywhere in the second half, he's just getting his hands on the ball from hooker, getting out, doing a bit of running.
Especially too if you want him to get to a spot to get somewhere. So you start dishing it that way.
Especially in the side where someone like Brandy, he's the catalyst for that side, wasn't he? I think he was the Dally M winner in 91 as well.
Special player.
So he was just getting his side around the park. It's the perfect way to do it. Get into hooker.
So this is the list for this is Kareem Howe, obviously. So. But it goes 1 Cameron Smith, 2 Danny Badiris, 3 Steve Walters, 4 Robbie Farah, 5 Ben Elias, 6 Isaac Luke, 7 Josh Hodgson, 8 Damien Cook, 9 Kerrod Walters, 10 Luke Prittis, 11 Royce Simmons, 12 Max Krilich, 13 Michael Innes, 14 Steve Edge, 15 Jeff Tuvey, 16 Craig Wing, 17 Jim Sedaris.
Jimmy Sedaris.
18 Sean Berrigan, 19 Greg Consecu, and 20.
Greg Kinescu. Lives out Sanford.
And then 20 Mal Cochran. And then honourable mentions is Craig Gower, James Seguiaro, Jake Granville, Mario Fennick, Jason Hetherington, and Richard Swain.
Well, I'd have Tubes over Isaac Luke.
Yeah.
But going through that list,
very good players.
I feel it shows how hard it is to be a hooker because some of those players I'm like in a fucking top 20 list. You see, like Craig Wing, bro, at 16. He was smoking hot, but
Wing was the ultimate utility. He was at the everywhere man. Like Boxhead Walters when he played was the best by far.
Yeah, I know, but it's meant to be like top 20 just hooker. Yeah, like it's not a utility hooker list. It's a hooker.
So he
list.
shouldn't be in that.
Yeah, I just think but maybe he should be. Maybe that's just how hard the hooker position is to actually lock it down and show you how good you are.
He won a half at the Roosters. He was half of the Roosters. They won a comp.
I think Luke Pretty should be bumped up on that list though.
Well, he's played for Australia and New South Wales and won comps at 2 different clubs. That to me puts you up there.
Yeah.
You know, Tuvey is tough as fuck, and if you want to go on that, like he played Test footy as a hooker. He played Origin footy as a hooker. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like things like that. Like, opinion here, Ben Hunt. Do you consider him a better half or a better hooker? I rate him. He's a very good player.
Oh, I like him at hooker.
I think so do I. I think he's better hooker. I think if he got put into hooker and stuck to it, just tightened up his defense a little bit, and just a tiny bit of his long ball, he'd be a great.
If he
hooker.
Was playing there,
but obviously, if he was playing there week in week out, he would have those things sharpened up. But the only time we ever see him play hooker is when he gets to Origin, and he's been playing half all year, and he's been on the edge being protected by a back rower.
Yeah, I think Hunt's such a good player that he's caught in that situation where he goes to clubs that don't have a strong enough half that he's allowed to play hooker.
Yeah,
and he's always caught up playing fucking hooker.
In that role.
Yeah, even though because his best years was when he was coming off the bench and killing it at hooker.
And that's the thing. Hunt's a very good football player. He cops a lot of criticism because everyone knows how much money you make now, and they've gone to a club that really need a half. So when St George are in those periods of seasons where they're going great, his strength is his running game. You know, and things like that. Definitely. When he's challenging the line, and when he was playing great footy at the Bronx when they made that grand final, he was scoring plenty of 4-pointers, and he was making breaks and setting up 4-pointers, and that's what he was doing at the Dragons when they were winning. Then when the wheels start falling off, confidence is gone from blokes, and you notice that in his game particularly, but it wasn't just him, there are plenty of other fuckers.
Yeah.
And when he was half in Origin, it was like they threw a shitload of weight on his shoulder. And then, and I remember it being a coaching course, and one of the blokes speaking said, did they make the mistake when they come out and say, this is Ben's team now, he need, do this. You put too much pressure on him. Then when you put him at hooker, he's still playing, for a guy who's not a week-to-week dummy half, he's having a massive,
he's making 50-plus tackles a game. He's great.
Jumped out, kicks, he can jump out and kick, and his passing game, but obviously it is, if you're playing a full season at half, going back to passing off the ground, it does take a couple of weeks to get.
Yeah, Cherry and Munster have a pretty good combination there, considering that they've only played Origin games together, really.
And also, he would be probably the best defensive half in the competition. Who else would be the better defender at halfback than him?
Let me see. He is a very good defender.
He's fucking awesome. In that Origin game, he made 1,000 tackles. You know, the last one.
And they spot you up, of course. Yeah. That's how they try and beat. That was heroic as fuck when they just lost that. Mate, when they had Mboy out in the centres, who went okay, but we didn't have any centres. Morgan gets knocked out, but Morgan hadn't been... His form wasn't up to par that series, but he was looking better then. He gets knocked. Things like that, like...
Yeah, it was...
Corey Norman's very skillful, and he did some very good things, but he kicked out in the full a couple of times. They were bombing Fergo in that corner. You've just given them 30 metres, gave away a dumbass penalty on the fifth, things like that. Norman's a very good player. Hunt would probably be the best defensive half in the NRL.
I think so.
Are you talking as a 7?
Yeah, as a 7.
Yeah, can't think of
as a half. Halves in general, it'd be white.
Because usually the hookers you can think about a few, but as a half, he
as a 7. Yeah, most of them can tackle because you can't make the NRL not, but they target you up, and you got to be able to handle that continued pressure.
Yeah,
and even if you can tackle, if you're defending at half, it's a hard position to defend at, especially when you got world-class back rowers coming at you week in, week out.
And your job is to make him. And I'm doing some work with American lad Preston, and he never played league before, and he was due to play this year. And I've had to send him videos and that, and talk to him about get at the opposition half. That's your job, to be running those channels and use your footwork to go inside or outside him to make him arm tackle you and things like those little things like that. Like, you get terrorised by a half on your side. You're not looking at who's your opposition half. The second rower, he terrorised a half. Like, you're looking who's the second rower on your side. That's a dude you'll be tackling all day. Things like that.
I was shooting hoops with Cantoni yesterday. At the courts.
You two look like ballers. Go on there.
Cantoni. I was actually telling about how Danos pretty decent at basketball, but he said that he was watching. What's the quarantine Fox footy show now?
Oh, they just basically get 3 people on there. Tonight it was Matty, Fletch, and Heine sitting around table talking.
But he was saying the cool question that they had during the week was about if you could be a part of any team in history to be a part of, what team would it be? And like, you know, like Cantoni said what they were throwing up, you know, you're talking the early 90 Chicago Bulls.
Any
sports. Any sporting team. It's it could be. I think one of them said, you know, being part of Schumacher's Formula One team.
Fuck, that would have been nuts.
Yeah, but a bunch of fucking geeks driving cars.
Sweet. You know how much money fucking supercar drivers make? Ridiculous.
Can you picture? You can pick anything.
Yeah, pick anything. Like, just here, like
jump into the dream time,
Barcelona, maybe fucking a young Manchester when Rooney just came into it with Beckham, that kind of shit.
Be at Denver when they won those Super Bowls.
Exactly, in the 90s.
Like, yeah. And those sort of
back
things.
to back with one out of a mate.
Yeah. And things like that when he, you know, like, how would that be?
He could be one of the Woody brothers, the tennis thing.
Being at the,
you know, the tennis.
Being international side, you just like be Argentina with Diego Maradona scoring a fucking winning goal to win the
they'll think like a kind of like a dynasty team. That's what it's like. Yeah, something that was like
being like in the Yankees when
one of Serena Williams' ass cheeks.
Wow. And see how you like by the people in this neighborhood. Being at the Yankees when Babe Ruth was there, and like the great Bambino who was like there was in a movie on his life. I saw how they had this training camp. So he went to the brothel all night and got in the piss, and he rolled up in his going out clothes, and they were blowing up at him. So in his going out clothes, he picks up a bat, goes over the plate, the pitcher pitches the ball to him, and just proceeds to hit it out of the ballpark just to say, that's what I bring.
You could just jump in and you just look at like a Lakers side with Bill Russell. Be? You win 11 rings in 14 years or whatever.
When they had Shaq and a young Kobe and they dominating.
Or like Dallas Cowboys in the 90s.
When they were untouchable. I'm seeing things on like the 85 Chicago Bears, and they just talk about how much the city loved them. They'd get $15,000 for going and making a special guest appearance at a bar mitzvah. This is in the 80s. Richard Dent, the defensive end, said he'd have a glamour come over in the morning and a glamour come over in the afternoon, much like you today, Dano. With you know, but
if you liked rape, you could be the Bulldogs in the Canterbury Bulldogs.
Well, Bulldog supporters listen to our show too, man.
No,
can you offend enough people? What is it? Do you get a list every day and think I'm going to get these people to stop listening to the show?
I think we're forgetting. Well, the biggest one for me, I would probably just jump straight into Queensland Origin side.
Well, that's what. Like in that.
If you could be in anything. Probably 95 Origin when they won against the odds and all the nobodies. He didn't even recognise Ben Ikin when he got out of a lift, and they won 3-0
with Fats.
Fatty coaching, and they just ran on spirit. So when they won, you start believing, and you're only going to have your playmakers, getting them working together, and then they tell the back row or the centre to play or the fullback. So they had Lamb, Robbie O'Davis at fullback, 5'8". They had Dale Shearer the first game, and Jason Smith. So you had some pretty... Wayne Bartram wasn't really a hooker. He was a back row. He played a bit of hooker, and he had a blind. He wasn't creative.
He was a quality utility Bartram too, eh?
And just I think he was just a tough guy who had some wheels so he could run from dummy half, decent service, kick goals, I'll make plenty of tackles. Yeah. Those sort of things where just was a Cinderella story. Adrian Lamb, not 12 months before, was playing at West, Dano. And they got an injury at East, so the Roosters signed him. He went to East, played second half of the year there. If you had said to him, you'll be playing for Queensland a year, and you'll get to pick between PNG or Australia.
Yeah.
And Fulton said to him, if you want to be in the Australian side you're in, I'll pick you. And he said, I can't. I've got to stay loyal to PNG.
Oh, good on him.
Those sort of things, like, fuck, how many teams could you pick from?
But yeah, I know. But Dano, with the basketball stuff, what would you want to be part of that Chicago Bulls side out of anything?
If I was to pick a basketball side, I'm thinking about like after you win all your games, all that shit, and you get to get out and get on the piss.
Oh yeah, think about the whole
the whole experience. Like, I'm thinking going back and being in a side, being in like a Golden State side with always like Philadelphia or whatever side it was with Wilt Chamberlain just destroying everyone. Imagine the fucking parties that they had. Oh, and Wilt Chamberlain was just like a massive coke dealer. Apparently, like, rumoured he had sex 20,000 different chicks.
That's you at the moment, bro.
That's like the dream life, isn't it? You just go out, dominate a basketball court, make millions, snort coke all night long, and just have thousands of chicks on you.
There's
perfect.
There's talk that the Dallas Cowboys were the first ones to make the party houses, weren't they?
That way you're not getting it. You don't have to worry about your silly Sunday stuff and people playing up. When they go to places, they're running the show. You know, like,
we need a party house,
who was it? When Dellavedova and he was at the Cavs and they went to Vegas, like, that was their sort of end of season trip. And you're in a giant penthouse room. Everyone, you know, they've paid for everything. You're not getting into too many dramas because they know how to look after you, because they want you to keep coming back, dropping heaps of dough. Blokes either gambling, drinking, gambling, got the ladies.
Yeah.
Imagine how much money you'd pour in. Like, imagine that San Dellavedova, the Cavs just win the championship, and they
got your win bonus. Yeah.
And they take the team to this nightclub in Vegas. Imagine that nightclub sitting there going, tables to stand at those nightclubs in the top section.
How good would
like
it be? The Roosters, they went to the US, trip away. Both years they won it. That wouldn't be horrible either.
No, that's right.
Especially when it's coming out of Uncle Nick's pocket.
Yeah, that's the thing.
It doesn't really matter.
We're not doing... Okay.
Those brown paper bags.
Well, why don't you guys break down that game that you guys watched and I didn't get around to watching it. And I'm going to set up Wrighty's deadlift. And
how much we going?
You're going to go hunge.
Yeah.
No, okay, unwarmed up.
Unwarmed up.
Yeah, unwarmed up. You're going to do a hunge. You're going to crank it out as much as you can.
Okay.
Just like 50, 60 times or something.
All right, nice.
Right, it'd be good. And then we've got another challenge coming from Reese Kedu during the week, but it's a 20-bar curl challenge. So just with the 20-bar straight. Yeah. And they did it at West at the start of the season.
And did Spearsy kill it?
Spearsy, I think he said 220 times.
What? He's a beast, mate.
On the curl bar. On the straight barbell.
He's a secret trainer.
Oh, mate. That.
He does see
But 220, man. They said, I think Fish allowed him to pause, like have a break at the dead end a couple of times and keep going.
If he won it, what did he say was up there? What was a good...
well, I think it went Spearsy, and then I think Kedu did all right, I'm pretty sure. But
he's a powerful man.
He's a fucking freak as well.
He's a powerful man, old Reese boy.
Yeah.
What Hemi Mullen did, he's a fucking giant.
So he goes,
he's the strongest player there,
he says, bicep curl max rep best effort. Everyone was allowed 2 quick breaks, and because I'm not always nasty, I think that's Fish because of that comment.
Yeah.
2 lads got over 200. So Josh Spears got 275, and then Bass Sinapati. Sinapati?
Sebi.
Oh, Sebi.
Yeah.
Got 203. Fuck. And then Zach got 170.
Zach Lister. He's the fullback.
I thought you were going to say Zach Warwood.
Oh, yeah.
I thought you were saying...
giant fucker.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, he's
not
powerful,
a fullback.
man.
He's a decent centre.
Oh, Pine Central.
Yeah, he's
powerful.
Kid at the back.
Was he there this year?
Yeah. He's playing on the
A grade. He scored 3 tries in the game against Valleys.
Yeah, well, last year he made the Brisbane side out of open ones.
Yeah, because he played Cup at North.
He's a freak. Right. You want to break this game down?
Didn't you say he's got a dick on him too?
You say that.
No, you said that. You told me that. You said Zach's got a dick on him. Make sure you mention it on the podcast.
You're the guy who wants to get his own shirt made up saying cockologist.
Can I buy
That's
one?
pretty good, man.
It is good.
And the logo's going to be a cock with your hair, like just like.
You can do that. I'll sign off on you doing that.
All right, talk about your shit game that you watched.
91 grand
our
final.
fault you didn't get around to watching it.
91 grand final.
Who's we? What the fuck? Oh, you're not. You're old.
You're really
anyway.
not, man. 91 grand final. Grand final replay was Penrith versus Canberra. Canberra, great side, coming to the end of their run. Had some injuries. They'd won the back-to-back premierships before that, similar to the Broncos did the next 2 years, yeah. And the Roosters this year.
Mm-hmm.
There were some great players there. It just seemed to me like Penrith, it was their time. They were due.
The first half, it looked like a lot of the runnings were going Canberra's way, but Penrith was sticking strong. And some of the efforts, some of the efforts that you saw from blokes in the Penrith side, like in the first half still, the ball ricochets a few times off a kick. Meninga picks it up and streaks down the sideline.
Fittler.
And then Fittler comes across with the fucking best.
Did you see the one earlier, just a bit earlier than that, where he got a hospie and Fittler jammed him and he dropped it, flat ball at the line, and Meninga was that stung him.
He turned to Laurie Daly and said, "What the fuck are you doing?"
It was the old flat crash. Ball. It was like a rugby flat crash ball. Yeah, you had Daly playing on one leg and was still dangerous.
Yeah, and Ricky Stewart on the other side with
halves busted up. You had Lazarus, and then he went to the Broncos the next year, and they had plenty of success.
He was fucking tough too. Broke a lot of tackles, running hard.
That Penrith side, they had blokes like John Cartwright, Test second rower, coming off the bench.
Yeah, giving good impact too.
Brad Izzard come off the bench too.
How many line breaks do you reckon he had? Probably 3 or 4.
Izzard was a beast. He'd played apparently early 80s. He played Origin, and then he didn't get another game till the early 90s. Like just this rampaging beast.
He just come off the bench, and as soon as he got on, he got his hands in the pill, and he was making inroads down that left
massive
edge.
Set of pins.
Yeah.
Greg Alexander was outstanding. The way just his game management.
Did he win the 91 Dally M?
Yeah, Brandon? I think he did.
I think he did. Yeah, because he saw, and he was always going to be him. If Penrith were to win it, which they eventually did, but you could just see from the start it was always going to be Brandy, and coming off his boot, whether it was off his boot or off his ball running and passing, he sort of definitely let him around.
Fittler, every time he touched the ball, looked dangerous.
He was unbelievable, and even blokes like. In the forward pack, their forwards first half were a bit down. Canberra were sort of getting over them a bit. In the second half, they come out. All of them grew a third leg and just fucking stuck into it.
Mark Guy, you forget how good he was because you think of him as on the radio and he knows his footy and he's a joker. He had a ridiculous offload in him too.
Yeah, he's always got the ball out, moving it around. No one could get to the ball.
And that comes back to what I was talking the other week, what Rowan Smith was saying about your ball grip.
Yeah.
If you've got it in one hand like that, it's probably safer to tuck in than if you've got it here and it gets knocked out like tucked inside. If you've got it in one hand, you're safer. And if you're looking for that offload, so you're wrestling with a guy in contact to get that pass away.
How about the knock from both captains?
Fantastic.
Mal Meninga was fucking exceptional. He must have saved 4 tries. And there's one of them, one of the tries he saved, he made a cover tackle on the right, pulled the bloke up just short of the line on last tackle. The ball comes back into Brandy, puts a kick through, and underneath the post, there was the Panthers attack were coming through to score a try, and the ball gets knocked dead, and it's Meninga who's come from the base of the play the ball.
Did you see that shot he put on Vandervoort, the lock? Same sort of thing. One forward tipped onto Vandervoort, and he just banged and upended him, manhandled him, picking up the rubbish bag and throwing it in the bin.
When Izzard got through, got a bit of a breakthrough, and then fucking Meninga pulls him down with like a metre to go to the line.
And look, we're just saying how much damage Izzard was doing.
Yeah, and then Meninga just there's a metre to the line, he just grabs him and just pulls him off the line. Said no chance.
It was ridiculous. Good game, and they were busted, the Raiders, and Penrith just come over the top a bit in the end, and Stewart had to go off with his groin injury.
They did it too with 12 blokes for the time that MG was.
Did you see Darren Fritz, a big long-haired front rower, come on?
Yeah.
He played for Queensland a few years later.
Yeah,
Fritz went to Illawarra. He was a big. He had a run around a few years ago with his son, and he was fucking 50-something.
Killing it.
Just played reserve grade somewhere like up there near Mackay somewhere like that. Gladdy maybe. Just had a got to have a run with the sun. That's
pretty sweet.
All right, we've got the weight on that bar over there, right, man?
Okay.
Oh, one more thing about that game.
Okay, sweet. Let's talk about this prehistoric game.
There was a steal in the play the ball, I noticed.
Oh, I'm glad they got rid of some of
like
those
that hook.
Yeah. So there's the play that come down the right edge, and he was only second tackle, and a Penrith player stood up. Got up slowly to play the ball, just laid it out in front, went to wipe it. Canberra player just strikes, pulls the ball straight back in, and it's game on. I thought, fuck. When did that get taken out of the game?
Later in the 90s, because it was just too scrappy.
It was.
Like, you wouldn't know what was people's. And one thing I'm glad, just striking at the ball, and you could play it forward, no marker. They've brushed that since then.
Play it forward to yourself.
Yeah. There's no marker.
Like,
tap
that to me wasn't so bad. Like, if there's no marker there, you can pick up an advantage, but you could be actually hurting your team, because if they're setting for something and there's no marker, you tap it and have a run, and then the half's calling it. They will.
It's sort of the same these days, right? If there's no marker, the hooker's going to go anyway, and that's what you should be doing. So
they could just tap it for. They took that out. Makes it too around that play the ball like murky and those sort of things. One last NRL fact: Callum Watkins got a release from the coast.
His dad's got coronavirus. Doesn't he?
He's just read before he signed with the Wolfpack.
Oh, really?
So I don't think they'll get off the ground this year.
I knew he was going home. I thought his old man's obviously been.
And I would imagine, like, Callum's in his early 30s, so his dad will be a fair age.
He's 29, isn't he?
Yeah, he's fair age. He's a good footballer. Disappointing that when he came to the coast, he was coming off a knee reco. Yeah. And at the time, the coast were a fucking train wreck. So he was underdone and probably should have been allowed to play. I was talking with a mate about this today. Play cup for a month or so to get your timing back and your game fitness. Yet, then he gets thrown out. He gets thrown in there in the NRL. They're struggling, and they play the Roosters one day and got beat by 50.
Didn't he debut against the Roosters?
And he just got fucking schooled, the poor fucker. Like, he's a good centre.
He's standing in front of Latrell Mitchell and Boyd Corder and Daniel Tupou on that edge.
Had no not good lateral movement because of it, and he looked better in the games this year. But he's still a way off. And they say, what is it, Freddie? 18 months before you get your pace back, and then after recos.
Oh, 100%.
And I know that
But for the Gold Coast, like, if you're shopping and you're buying an outside back, you're not buying a 29-year-old bloke with just come back from heavy construction who hasn't played NRL yet. He was a great
good
Super
international
League,
centre.
But then you look at it, Ryan Hall is a great international winger, and he scored 1,000 tries in Super League, comes here, and he's played 5 games or 6 games.
But he was another thing coming
and
off.
Hasn't scored a try yet.
Coming off a knee reco himself. He's fit as fuck. If Hall gets an opportunity this year, just follow him on Instagram, he looks in mad shape.
Yeah.
Like so. But the trouble is, you've got blokes who...
big man, eh?
Yeah, met Freddie, man. He was playing as like in the 9s for England. He was playing as a frontie.
Yeah.
He didn't look out of place.
Behind the sheds, he's asking me, he's like, have you played much nines before? And I go, oh, a bit. We have a few carnivals over here. He goes, I've never fucking played it before in my life. He goes, it sounds like it's too much cardio. Yeah, no, a legend. Yeah,
if he's a winger.
Yeah. If he gets another chance there, like with but they've just signed Josh Morris. Like, if they get a chance on the wing, which someone will get injured at some point, I reckon he'll show what he can do. And I reckon he could cement a spot there if he gets an opportunity.
I just don't see him pushing out Brett Morris or Daniel Tupou anytime
soon. But if someone, if there's an injury, it has to be if Morris or Tupou get injured for a period of time, he'll make it hard for him to get back in.
But I still think that
when they bought him, he would have been ahead of Morris on the selection order theoretically. But Morris being Morris. Experienced campaigner, like his grand final performance, just taking them shitties coming out, cleaning up a couple in the in goal, fielding a couple of bombs. He drops one or two of them, you lose the game.
So I still think too. I think he's a great winger. I don't rate him high enough to have him up there. If I was the Roosters and Trent Robinson, and he's played a fair bit in NRL now already, Matt Ikuvalu, and then you got Billy Smith there as well. Two great young prospects. Yeah, two great young prospects. So I think at this stage for the Roosters, Ryan Hall would probably get a go, but they're two right there as well. They would keep him true. So I think they're in a good spot for their outside backs because they're both...
What's that young winger, that Ikuvalu?
Yeah.
He's got a few errors in him.
Yeah, he does.
But he's a kid. coming through.
Which is where you look at him.
That was the thing, and he's the one you pepper.
Yeah.
Like, he's a short, stocky little dude. Make him jump. See how far you can jump. And it's just a thing, like, with the amount of leapers now, we were, who was I talking to the other day? Me and Nate, when I was saying, can you imagine, like, if someone like Randy Moss in his heyday played on the swing, even like in the USRL comp, like just if he was playing college ball and goes, I want to have a run in the off season. Someone with those vertical leaps, fast as fuck, bit of a used to return and punt, so used to bring him back kicks, and things like that.
What was your big news, bro?
All right, I was going to now.
We're going to do this first.
Wait. Actually, before that, while I remember, I just want to shout out to the Winner Manly boys. You could probably touch on this, Wrighty. So we Mitch Cronin, passed away a couple of days ago, Saturday. Yeah. And they believe it was a heart attack in the pool after he trained.
Training sad as fuck, eh?
And you would have watched him play a fair few times,
He was captain. He was
gun.
He was captain of Wynnum last year.
Yeah,
took his side of the grand final. Great defender. Played hooker. He was.
he fucking killed it in the.
His pill out of hooker was mint. He had a good running game and just chopped everything that came in. Great defender. Very sad, very big loss for Wynnum as well.
Oh, just like that too. And I said this, that's another victim of coronavirus, because if he could have been playing footy, you would have had a game the next day, you wouldn't have been doing that particular training session and putting yourself in those positions, you know what I mean? It's all the domino effect of what happened.
The butterfly
effect. A mate of mine calls it nature's way of cleansing the earth.
Yeah.
And I don't know if that's...
with this kid though, it's just fucking unfortunate.
And he was 28 in a week, mate, and that sort of thing. He'd been in NRL system, so he had a good lower grade career, like without playing NRL.
And he was in a couple of NRL systems, so he's with Bronx
and the Raiders.
Yeah, Raiders.
So he played at South Logan as well, and he was playing at Mounties.
And racking up 20 games in Q Cup.
Yeah,
100 plus.
And
you're the captain of a strong club that's making GF.
Yeah.
So very sad.
Yeah.
Thoughts go out to people.
Them.
When I first heard, like someone messaged me the other night and they didn't know much, and I didn't want to say too much because I didn't know how, what had happened, and you don't want to speculate.
Yeah.
You don't want to speculate. What if it was something other than that? And when I found out, well, it's just sad as fuck. Like, all right. I've been informed by a very reliable source.
Who is it?
I can't tell you.
Tell us.
But he's I can't.
Gotta say.
Can't tell you.
Oh, please. Right, you killing me.
Junior and local rugby league comps will be resuming training on June 28th. And they're looking...
That's ages away.
And that's shit news because I don't want to go back to training. And then we're training for 6 months.
And the rough plan is an August 2nd start to mid-December.
Really?
Whoa.
Yep. 15 to 16 week season. That's the rough plan at the moment. Which to me...
How hot is it going to be?
Yeah, well, that's the
December?
thing. That's the thing. Like, take a leaf out of Big Al Weller's book and train twice a day and you'll be all right.
Fuck, that's heck is.
But if that's their rough plan.
But would that be BRL?
It'd be everything.
But Q Cup.
Yeah, as far as that's what I'm thinking. And they're thinking New South Wales are going to do the same thing, everything under New South Wales Cup. So if that was the case, and there'd have to be restrictions on players that are contracted, they wouldn't be able to float back down because they're contracted NRL systems and things like that. And if you're in a cup system, it'd be, unless you had been allocated a feeder, like for like North with West and things like that, blokes just couldn't say, Wynnum aren't playing, I'll go play for someone else.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? How, if this comes about, and the bloke who told me is very reliable, I'm wondering how they would police certain things and how they'd structure the competitions.
Yeah.
So people don't give up on rugby league just yet. We're survivors.
Is it Clarkie's Corner that told you?
Okay. Anybody who takes any bloke, that bloke's scoop.
Wait, who was he ripping that photo?
That photo, that was some bloke who worked at Fox Sports threatening to knock him out for plagiarising his stuff. Good to see you well.
Wait,
yeah.
With the pre-season in mind, getting this thing, let's go rip this up.
All right, let's do this. All right, we'll be back.
All right. No, we'll keep going. Do you want to commentate it, Dano? Well,
I'd be happy to. You go.
All right. I'll go get the video set up.
Yeah, and just stand behind him while he's doing it, and then I'll we got here a question from just a quick question here. Reese Kedu put up, if you could invite 3 West blokes for a 3-day bender post COVID, who would you choose? And we can't choose each other.
Okay, my first would be Bendo.
So, fair enough. Freddie's first call would be Joey Henderson, our centre from last year.
The stranger. Livingston's a solid assassin. He lasts 3 days easy.
And Dolan would have to be in. Are we talking because Dolan would have to be in there?
Yeah, fair enough. So we got Livo, Dolan, and Bendo.
Yeah, but that's pretty, that's not a lot of West boys. We don't know.
Yeah.
With West blokes, be Willow.
Really?
Let's see who else a good dude to have a drink.
I'd probably take Cal Stewart.
Oh, Cal.
Yeah.
Minister of Defence.
Yeah, just so we can pick on him, laugh at him, at his misfortune.
Cal would be, with the Mitchie one, he'd be 4th man if we were paying because Dolan wouldn't get into some places like day 2. He'd need to sub a lad in.
Well done, Reese. Good question there. That was real
Mark
good.
Lewis asked a question. Might have been on my page.
Yeah, I just seen.
Did Ben Lewis ask him?
Oh, wow. Wow.
He's there getting his statue built out there at...
Swifts. At the Swifts.
Yeah, the Swifts. They're kicking down Kevin Walters' the statue and putting in Benny's.
All right, we're just about to see the beast himself.
Right, it's the 100 kilos, so it's our second week of combine.
Yeah.
You gotta say that in the mic. And then it's he's doing a 100 kilo deadlift for as many reps as possible.
Yep. So this is the great man Adam Wright. He's about to put up 100 kilos in the dead. We're just going to see how many times he can do it for our round 2 of the combine.
Ready, right?
Show us how it's done, right, man?
All right, unwarmed up. You're going to smash this, bro. There you go. He's off. 1.
Oh,
2. Form's looking
Wrighty.
good. Back's looking set. 3.
Oh, that's tough.
You got 20
Wrighty.
in you, bro. 4. 5. 6. 7.
Yeah, righty. That's strong. Yeah.
8. Nice, mate. We'll allow a shortstop to take your shirt off if need be. 9.
That's 10. That's 11.
Keep going, mate.
12. Push righty. Oh, yeah. 13.
Do it for the gram, brother.
Oh.
Keep
Get
going.
righty.
Keep going, right.
16.
16.
17. 18. Push. Yeah.
You got this, bro. You got 30.
It's 20.
That's 20.
Oh.
There he goes.
Yes.
Nice.
Right, man. Fuck, that was incredible. Oh, I can't wait till everyone in the wide world of Facebook gets to see that. That was some arousing stuff, right, man? That was fucking mint.
That was good.
That was incredible. 20 reps, right, man? Fuck.
We still love doing it when I train with him.
20 reps.
Is this
Getting it up.
Smoky for little. Fucking take it out, right, man?
Oh, he's got a pretty good dead. I'll try it out. I'll put up. Let's see some of these. If anyone put up questions.
Yeah.
People being slack, eh?
No, there should be a few. Lucas hit a few on mine.
Oh,
and,
good.
You had a few on. Wrighty had a couple there as well. Lucas had another sort of one similar to Reese's, I think.
How's that? Trig replied to that one.
Yeah.
Not Jack Walters or Josh Rudolph.
Lucas had one. He asked on my page.
Up there?
It was
Dana.
Oh yeah, it was similar to the one Kedu had, but he said top 5 Australian athletes to have a beer/bag with.
Well, Warney, you'd have to.
You have to go Warney for sure. Benny Cousins sounds like a fucking good time if you're into meth.
That might be.
If you're into meth and getting your teeth fixed later in life.
I felt for him. Did you in that story on him?
I thought that was the biggest bag of shit ever.
Did you see?
It's like, okay, so you got a drug addict on TV who's still a drug addict, and he's lying about it. That's what I thought.
When they quoted him years ago saying, "I'm not a drug addict. They're like homeless people and that." And it showed him, and they said to him, "Where are you living now?" And he goes, "I don't have a place to live on." You poor bastard.
Oh man,
Jesus.
It was a perfect storm for that motherfucker though. Awesome athlete, smoke show, probably got a dick on him.
Probably.
And when he was telling that story, Man, he was the big dog. Like, did you hear Nick Naitanui talking about him? He goes how he was the king to them all, like, when they were coming through.
Yeah. It's crazy. Who else? I reckon
Langer would be good. Langer would be a good time.
Langer is real good on the piss.
Yeah.
Well. He loves it.
Yeah, he does not have a good time.
Yeah, you'd have... there'd be too many. There's too many to think about.
Like, of all time, someone like, he'd be a good bloke to drink with, not the sort of bloke who you got to cut loose at some point and go, we got to brush him. Yeah. I'm trying to think of a real good dude. Like,
I'd love to have a beer with Matt Scott, the big front rower. Just a big. I reckon he'd have 40 beers and be sober still. I reckon, and then you just fucking get him into the bag and he'd get stuck in it as well. I reckon he'd be one of the best blokes to have a beer with. If I could pick a rugby league player to have a beer with, it'd be
Darren Lockie'd be alright because no one would ever hear about it.
Yeah. What's the other one? He also had, and also, should all the missos of NRL players be worried in isolation?
No, just shut the fuck up and cook meals, bitches.
Yeah. How hard is it? All you got to do
you say this to your missus?
Exactly. That's what I say. She talks, I go, put your fucking muscle back on.
Do you live down here? Do you live down here? Are you still with your missus?
Yeah.
Okay, so I'm still going solid.
I'm like, why is your fucking leash off?
As long as, like, I'm happy as long as the washing's done and the sandwiches are made.
That's right.
And if they're not, sneaky back.
These nuts are empty. These nuts being empty, I'm all good. Or I'll leave her for Reese Kettu.
Yeah, because he's a smoke show too, and if he's doing 1,000 curls,
No, but shout out to girls. I do love them.
And Reese, shout out.
Yeah, and Reese. Reese with the wig. Shout out to him.
I mean her. Yeah.
Any more questions?
Yeah, well, we'll go over to your one, Wrighty, that you always post first before any given Monday's page.
Because more people follow me than follow any given Monday.
Well, if you start posting more on any given Monday, we'll get the...
It's like my secret double life. They don't know about me.
Blowing up.
Gee. Lewis. There it is, Mark Lewis. May 28th, will it or will it not happen? I'm confident that they can tick the right boxes and get things moving in the right direction and speak to the powers that be and sort this out. If you had asked me this weeks ago, I would have thought it was ridiculous, but I reckon there were a chance.
Yeah, I reckon it's starting to look more and more likely as we...
we'll get to close there. Nice photo there.
There was a couple in that question, Freddie. That one.
Oh, sorry. Go back to Wrighty's.
Yeah. So it was. It also says, why did Luke Page not make a full-time NRL roster? I just think they think he's not big enough. You know what I mean? There's flaws in his game they must think. I don't really know, but he will rip in. He's good leg speed. He'll get you going forward. He's definitely not going to ever take a backward step. He's a tough bloke. I just think...
they think he's past his opportunity.
Maybe, and I just think there's... bloke's better. Like he's a good, solid front rower, and he's a great cup front rower. He even played a few internationals. He always has a dig. But I just think for a week-to-week NRL player, I'd take someone a bit bigger, someone a bit.
If I was the coast,
bit smarter maybe.
If I was the coast, I'd be bringing him in to train a few days a week if they get back off the ground.
Yeah.
As backup, because you're not losing out anything.
Yeah.
And if you've got a couple of injuries, you could do a lot worse than putting him on your bench.
Exactly right. Yeah.
This is Lockyer or Lewis. Who's the best?
Lockyer.
Are you talking NRL player, Lockyer, for an Origin player? They're probably.
So I think Lockyer is the best Origin player ever.
Lewis dominated.
I was thinking about this with when everyone says LeBron and Jordan, right? Yeah. And I think one good way to look at it is I believe that Jordan was so far above his school, like his class, than what LeBron is above his, right? And I'd say the same as Lewis to Lockyer. I'd say Lewis was so far above his players at that age, that level. And Lockier's so good. Like, if you look at it that way, that's why a lot of people would say Lewis, I'd say. Yeah. But for me, it's Lockyer as well. Yeah. But yeah, it's like that where you were in that, because it's hard to look. It's like saying people, like with Babe Ruth. Yeah, he was smacking home runs, but he wasn't facing 100-mile-an-hour fastballs.
Yeah. But that's the thing. He was facing the best blokes in his time.
Exactly, yeah.
See, and it's like comparing. In football, I always go, with this team of 90 beat them. No, the teams of the 2000s would beat the team of the 90s, especially if you're playing whatever rule set you're playing. Great sides like the Roosters team in modern rules would beat the 2000 Broncos, just for the fact of with the limited interchange, where the Broncos back then we had unlimited interchange. Wouldn't be a flogging, but I reckon that would give you an advantage. Where if you played those unlimited interchange and weren't used to playing that, the Broncos had the advantage because they'd roll those big dogs on and just grind the fuck out of you, and your backs would take advantage.
Everything these days, we train smarter. We try and do everything. It's like the training we do these days, especially for professional athletes, is highly specific training to everything they do, and their bodies are fucking absolute fucking just temples, and like they just fucking work to get themselves in that good a condition to do what they got to do. So in those days, like even in 2000, blokes, they were fucking fit, they were strong, they were going to the gym. But now NRL players these days are full time, 100% working towards the NRL, always in the gym, always their bodies are in tip-top shape.
Kevy Walters was telling a story after 1 year at the Bronx. They'd had a loss, so they went for a fucking bit of a Monday session at the paddo, and got blind, and then end up Peter Ryan, Chris Johns broke his hand, and then who was it? Kevy and him were talking in the corner saying the forwards were a bit soft the day before. Peter Ryan gets wind of this, goes over and goes, "What he was saying?" And he goes, "What you saying, mate? We thought you could have gone, you were a bit soft yesterday." And he looks at Chris Johns and goes, "Right, okay, you got a broken hand, we can't put him up. Let's go kidney punches." Fucking, and things like that.
Peter Ryan's a ledge, man.
And then things like that, like, where if you wouldn't be, like, you'd be in rehab and you'd be doing a fucking video session. If you found out boys were out in the piss on a Monday, maybe you might have had a few Sunday night. Not if it was a Friday night game, but like just at different times. That'd be a fucking scandal. If people saw you pissing up, walking past the paddo and saw you in there on the sauce, there'd be camera people taking pictures. Shit, chat'd be out. It'd be all over the place.
It'd be on the back of the Courier Mail. And
fucking I've got my little midget friend Connor from my US team saying on our Insta feed, when are you going to finish the tattoo on your back, Freddie? When they invent tattoos that don't hurt, because I'm over it now. Wow. It fucking hurts too much. And my tattoo artist actually says as he got older, he felt like they hurt more. And the last time I got it work done on it, when he went over the spine, I was like, I can't do this. And
my question here for this is, how small is this dude if you're calling him a midget?
Who, Connor?
Yeah.
Connor, he's trying to be shorter than me, bro.
His dad's John Donahue, Storm coach. Yeah, he goes good too. He's got hair down to his
He's
arse.
like wrestling coach for him.
Yeah. I knew
he played junior. He played junior.
I didn't notice how small he was until Freddie starts calling someone a midget.
Oh yeah, I think me and Corey go back to back. Corey's slightly taller than me. Then I've got Connor. Too. But I like going back to back with Connor. He's got that firm ass. I feel it against mine. It just gets me going.
I just go front to front when I measure sizes.
You want to take this bitch out, man? Jimmy obviously didn't come, but we'll get him next time.
Next week. All right.
And also, I wanted to mention, I forgot about Kimmy's thing that he does on Facey now.
Yep.
Okay, so take us out, right? Oh, and Mates. So maates.com.au, matesmerchandise.com.au. Go to them. The proceeds of their sales go towards things like Mates for Mates and other mental illness stuff within the workforce and military. So make sure you go with them, buy the double pluggers. And
quality pluggers too. I got a pair.
Yeah, they're good. They just go forever like the others, you know, like your Roccos and shit.
Fucking sweet. Righto.
All right. Before we go out, one of our good mates of the show, Kim Ingebrigtsen, I should say, him and his brother Ty have got a show on Facebook. It's called KI and TI Talk Footy. They get some mad guests on there. They get some great co-hosts, and who have they got coming up? They've got Luke Capewell coming up Sunday, and I think they've got someone coming up doing. Robbie O'Davis will be coming on their show soon. They did some great. They had Steve Irwin, who was sacked from Canberra when Todd Carney got the arse. So
when he got done by a stingray?
Your shit gags don't get any better. So if you want to watch some great footy interviews, get on and watch the boys in action.
Do you see Bendy got married?
Yes.
She's smoking.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. It's like I almost cried. It's like my whole childhood's gone now. It's like I always planned to just grow up and marry her. And,
all right, that's the spirit. You've got enough women on the go as it is, bloke. Okay?
That's right. Calm down, motherfucker.
Leave some for the other boys, okay?
I'm getting rinsed here.
So the way it looks, there is a chance we will see some footy at the lower levels. Fingers crossed, let's hope that comes about. Main thing is everyone's got to keep doing the right thing, keep being smart, keep supporting each other, keep looking after each other, keep going about your daily life as much as you can, but keep touching base with your friends and family, letting them know you're there for them. This will be out Monday on Spotify, iTunes, SoundCloud, YouTube if you want to actually watch us in action.
Yeah, so from now on, we'll always be trying to do this, record on the Sunday night, so we drop it on the Monday with the YouTube thing going up that night.
Okay, sweet. That's how it's going to be. We'll be putting the links to both the audio and the YouTube on Facey, on our Facebook page and Insta and our own individual pages. So
and please tell us what you fucking hate about it. That's what we want the most.
Yeah,
I want to tell it,
like,
or even I even want to hear like you guys know shit about football. Like shut the fuck up. I want every sledge.
All right, you heard Wrighty. Everyone, take care. Look after each other. Don't be a mercenary. We'll be back in a week and give Talking Footy with Ty and Kimmy a watch, and you'll be better for the experience. Take care, everyone.
Cheers, boys.
Cheers.